Can't you see he's overwhelmed? Can't you let him alone? How to detect that someone is overwhelmed by sadness, and what could we do in this situation, and what could we do when we are overwhelmed by our own sadness? So let's find out these boundaries and detect the body language. My name is Jurek. My mission is to bring awareness to the emotions. Let's go.
What was going through your head when this all was going down in the first few days? Because you were the double Oscar winner, star of one of the biggest shows on television around the world, House of Cards. And then suddenly, you're talking to Ridley Scott about this big movie. It's everything. Life could not have been going better for you. I'm seeing you in Hollywood, the toast of the town, presenting to one of the all-time greats an award, making a funny speech. Everybody laughed. You were really, pretty much near a peak of your life, I would have thought. And then bang, it's all gone.
Did you recognize it? Already before he's answering the question, we can see the overwhelming reaction. It is the breathing, This shows me already this is a tough question. Why are we doing this? Because we need a lot of air for something that's very tough, very hard. So when I'm doing a hard work, to make it a little bit more physical, and you want to push a hard weight, then you're like, and this is the same what we are doing with our emotions. So when it's a hard question and we are prepared for this hard question, breathe in. Okay, now the answer comes. This is one indicator. The second indicator is this. This shows me also that there's a lot of anger. This is a typical sound that we do when we are angry at something. Could be angry at an emotion, could be angry at the person who's asking a question. This we cannot say right now because we have not enough context, but these two signs with the breathing, with this throaty noise, gives us an indicator. This is going to be a tough question.
I'm seeing you in Hollywood, the toast of the town, presenting to one of the all-time greats an award, making a funny speech. Everybody laughed. You were really, pretty much near a peak of your life, I would have thought. And then bang, it's all gone.
And in all honesty,
you heard the stumbling, and the short breathing.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I was really able to process much of what was happening. Evan recognized immediately that I was in a very, very dark place, and he encouraged me to go take care of myself. So I immediately, really before any of the decisions were made to punish me, I went into rehab. I immediately, I didn't know if I was going to survive, and I just needed to.
Again, there was starting this, I don't know if survive before a hard sentence coming. Yeah, I don't know if I'm surviving. This is a very, very tough emotional sentence.
Go take care of myself, and I was enormously grateful that Evan encouraged me to go do that.
Do you think what would have happened if you hadn't done that?
I don't know.
And very nice, you see how the mouth, look at the mouth. Yeah, here, this is like the typical sad smiley we see. Perfect, yeah. And with the eyes looking into the inner world. I don't want to know, shaking with the head in combination. We had the shaking with the head already beforehand. This is no, I don't want to know.
I don't know. It was a very unusual experience for me because I'd never been in therapy. I'd never looked into myself in the ways that I was being asked to. I remember there was maybe the first or second day that I was there, one of the guys that had been assigned to me as sort of my angel, my big brother. He looked at me at lunch one day and he said, Kevin, if you're going to get out of this program what you came here to get out of this program, you're probably going to have to do something you've never done in your entire life. And I was like, oh yeah? What would that be? He said, trust before you're ready.
Remember this sentence. We will go deeper into this sentence. Very, very important. And we see also the surprise. He heard it. Yeah, eyebrows going up. Yeah, and also licking above the lips. Oh man, oh man, this I have to swallow down, and I have to get calm myself with the lips. We go with the tongue above the lips to calm ourselves, because it was such a surprise. And now someone could say, he's not overwhelmed at all. He is speaking clear sentences. He is talking about it. He's rationalizing. He's organized and structural in his sentence. So everything is fine. But exactly this is the problem. This is the reason I wanted to do this video. To show you that the body language is showing us much more, that there's a lot of limit already going on. So what we have is an emotional limit. This emotional limit, when we step more and more to this boundary, then the protection mechanism kicks in. These limits we can detect with the body language and with these indicators I already showed you, and I already will show it in the other videos, and will also further on go into this. For myself, it was 15 years ago. I felt like he can answer rational, and in the first sessions I had with the clients, and I pushed only rational, logically asking question, and I had these psychotherapy, classical psychotherapy combined with a little bit of personal development. All is fine, all is good. But when I went into the meditation and to the negative emotions, I realized that a question like, what would happen when your best time and bang, everything is over? And when we go in a meditation with the client or with myself in a meditation, then I realized, wow, this is heavy stuff. This is a question where a lot of energy rises up. And then we need time to go into the state, feel into the emotion. This question seems to be a little bit deeper than just to answer it rationally. But still, he can answer it rationally, then he's just suppressing the emotion. Let's suppress the emotions all the time. It's working, you can see it. And this is the point where I cannot convince you. Everyone has to make their own experience with the emotion. Is it possible to suppress my emotion, and how does it feel? This is what I cannot say with any theory, because it's for every person unique with our own emotions. How we listen to the emotions. And I know our society is training us to think about everything and not feel into the things. The positive emotions you can feel, but not sadness. Sadness is not allowed. This is a stupid emotion, and we have to suppress it. And my invitation is, when I ask such hard pushing question, to give space, to give room. But let's look further, and then we can elaborate a little bit more specific how to give space, how to give room.
And he was right. I had never done that. And so that process of trusting and watching the courage and the strength that these individuals in both that program, I later went to the Hoffman Institute, I did group therapy, to watch individuals step up and share the story of their lives with such openness is what first gave me the courage to start to share my own.
And you pretty much...
And now you see again what's happening. The voice is immediately cracking when he's talking about the group.
Of their lives. Watch
Again.
Individuals step up and share the story of their lives.
You hear it immediately after, group sharing. And this is no coincidence, that is group sharing. It will happen again, and then we see, well, yeah, that's much more intense, and the emotions coming up.
With such openness is what first gave me the courage to start to share my own.
Had you pretty much been leading a life in self-denial to that point?
Well, I don't think I was in denial. I think that I was leading a relatively normal life. I was closeted as a man, and I was fiercely closeted for a very long time. And now that I'm out, regardless of the fact that I came out in a way that was not the best coming out party ever, I would like to try to be as positive a voice for those who are experiencing difficulty in embracing their own selves and their own lives.
You see, already you're getting quite emotional. which is completely understandable. But it shows me that underneath, you've come in, you look back to your old kind of Frank Underwood look in many ways, and yet the scars must be
Throat again, yeah, the throat sound.
deep. I mean, they must be hard for you. This 7 years you've been through.
Yes, but look, I appreciate that, and
High voice. Yes, completely out of the melody is completely off. So you see, there's a lot going on now.
as I say, there have been times when it's been challenging, but there's also been times, Piers, have been incredible. I've been able to witness genuine demonstrations of friendship and love. I'm closer to my family. I'm closer to my friends. I'm closer to myself than I've ever been.
Are you a better person?
I absolutely believe I'm a better person.
So what was the old Kevin Spacey like when you're being critical about what you were like before the ground zero of that day in October 2017? When you look at yourself critically, what was that person like?
Okay, now let's go to the critique point. So Kevin is talking about the openness in a sharing circle, and we realize, okay, there's a lot of emotions going on, and yeah, it's no coincidence, because a sharing circle, when you had it yourself, you experienced yourself. I have it in every cacao ceremony, every spiritual event. There's, in the beginning, we have a sharing circle. It's a very powerful tool, and it's very open. The reaction of Piers instead is of openness. He's doing this movement with the pen. This is a body language, and also his speech and the questions. Let's come to the point. I want to go to this point. I want to make a point. Yeah, you can also draw a point with the pen, so it's no coincidence. And also, he's pushing him down with the hands. This is the worst case scenario you can do. Of course, much more worse example you could do in this situation, of course, but just to make it a little bit exaggeration. When we see the reaction of the other person, of Kevin, and he is getting sad and then pushing to a point and even trying more to push a point, then the other person will go even more into resistance. So the person will just flee in a rational talking style. And again, you could say, nice, now he's controlling his emotions and he's talking about it. But this is a typical problem I have with every client and myself, that we talk about the things and not feeling into it. What is the problem? The problem is when I'm going to a situation in the past, a trauma could be like, I forgot my homework. Doesn't have to be such special thing. My father was screaming at me, doesn't mean hitting or so. It doesn't have to be this hard. Sometimes the little things are even enough. It's crazy what is really in our memory. And when I talk about it, yeah, and then he was screaming at me, but yeah, I have already forgiven my father, no problem. Then we say, fine, no problem, you see it, Jurek. But what a surprise when we go into the meditation and go to the past, and it's just open. And I'm like, yeah, let's go to the past. And then suddenly there's this situation again. And suddenly the situation still feels so much anger that Kevin, for example, Kevin felt so much anger in the situation with the homework. And now we are not thinking about this. And suddenly all the anger, all the energy is coming up. And we really can explore, oh, there's an energy stuck, and this energy is stuck behind my rational, my logical mind, and it wants to express, it wants to set boundaries, it wants to cry, it wants to say, I don't feel good. Even though the logical mind says, no, everything is fine, but in the inner, in the deeper state, in our soul, however you would call it, inner children, parts of ourself, there's a part that's saying, I don't feel well. And this part is very, very strong, and even stronger than we all can imagine. But of course, this is just a theory. You don't have to believe me, this part of the story. But I hope I can give you an inspiration that the subconscious mind and the emotions in combination are one of the strongest manipulating tools of our own behavior, and then we go in protection mechanism, and then we go in autopilot and not realizing what is the real reason behind the conflict. Now let's go to the deeper conflict that's lying behind the sadness, what I think, and then we can really say, okay, how to give space in this specific situation. So let's listen and keep in mind the sentence we had, trust, you have to trust before you are ready. Let's go.
When you look at yourself critically, what was that person like?
I think as much as I tried to be a good human being, I think that there were bouts with arrogance, there were bouts with my ego, there were bouts with, I look back at times when I think, wow, I wasn't as kind as I could have been. I wasn't as generous as I could have been. I wasn't as prepared as I could have been. I look back now.
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? I'll do it again for you.
I wasn't as prepared as I could have been.
And we have the same body language we had just had with the trust before you are ready.
I wasn't as generous as I could have been. I wasn't as prepared as...
Again, the eyebrows are raising up, and he's saying the complete opposite of the sentence before. You have to trust before you are ready. And now maybe you will ask, no, wait. He said, I wasn't prepared enough, but this includes that he wants to be more prepared in the future. But the sentence he got from his therapist, or whoever this was the sentence, hey, you have to trust before you're ready. You see the conflict in himself. And this is only one thing. There's a lot of things we can get out of the rational thing. But you see, this is contradictory. And this contradiction, he doesn't even flinch with an eye. He is not like, oh, sorry, but this was contradictory. I said 2 sentences before, I said I have to trust before I'm ready. And now I can see there's a wish that I want to be more prepared. And this is what we can only find in a meditation and with emotions. This you won't get along with analytic. And because the problem is now, when I would ask the question in a one-to-one session, hey, but you said ready, that you are ready, but you are not ready, and that you want to be ready, but you said the therapist, and so on and so on, and it was, yeah, I said it wrong, maybe I missed, no, I didn't mean it this way, and so on and so on. So that is why we need to go to the emotion and really see these 2 parts fighting against each other, because it's a typical topic I had with a lot of clients and with myself. There's one fearful inner child or inner part, call it how you like. This inner part wants to be prepared for everything and overthink everything. And then there's another part that feels very, very stringent, very narrow-minded by this partner, saying, I want to be spontaneous. This is what he already said with the body language. I was closeted. Yeah, so this is the other part. And this other part wants to be free. And when these both parts are fighting against each other, then each of them can explode. So the most of the time, the scared part is taking control, preparation, no explosion, getting stronger. And then the suppressed part that wants to be free explode, like, now I'm writing a tweet. Now my sexuality has to be free. I'm going to a party and overstepping boundaries because now I don't want to be prepared anymore. And this conflict we want to look into.
As I could have been. I look back now at I was so focused and determined on what happened on stage and in front of a screen that I missed a lot of things that were happening off screen and off stage. And now I'm enormously grateful that my focus has shifted. My goal is no longer to be the best actor, which it was. My goal is now to prove that I'm a man of good character. And that is my responsibility every single day, to show that and demonstrate that.
I just want to show you a clip. This is from your 2 Oscar wins, because it's very unusual to win more than 1 Oscar. You've done it twice.
And the Oscar is presented to Kevin Spacey in The Usual Suspects.
Well, whoever Kaiser...
And very beautiful. Now you have the face of Kevin Spacey, and again we can see he's overwhelmed. Again we have the lip contact. Look again. Heavy breathing. Yeah, we have the breathing again. Now it's getting really, really rough.
Well, whoever Kaiser Soze is, I can tell you he's going to get gloriously drunk tonight.
And the Oscar goes to Kevin Spacey in American Beauty.
To my friends, for pointing out my worst qualities. I know you do it because you love me. And that's why I love playing Lester. Because we got to see all of his worst qualities and we still grew to love him.
It's kind of ironic, I don't know what you would call it, poignant, interesting, the kind of stuff you were saying there. You were staring quite intently at it. What were you thinking?
I was actually, I travel with a number.
And this is also typical, this breathing in and then yeah, this is also suppressed technique, protection mechanism to try to get away of my sadness, like everything is fine. You hear that it's not a real laughter. Yeah, it's like more like a hopeless laughter, like
I travel with a number of photographs. So I just always like to have photos and things from my life. And one of the photographs I travel with is a picture that was taken the morning of the Usual Suspects Academy Awards. And it's a picture of my mother and me at the Ivy restaurant on Ocean in Santa Monica. We had this wonderful brunch that morning. And when I see that, I just think, wow, that was a morning where there was possibility. I didn't think I was going to win. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to win. I was this new kid on the block. And when I
voice crack on the block. Again.
I wasn't going to win. I was this new kid on the block.
Block.
And when I see that photograph, which I see every day, I remember that day. I remember what it meant to my...
And also, side note, I don't know if you hear it in the cut because the audio is not so good. You hear that Pierce is also getting more nervous because you can hear his pen. He's hitting the pen all the time. This is this clicking sound in the background. This is not me. It's not my mouse or something. He's getting very nervous because he also feels, oh God. He's,
My mother. But I've also had to re-examine my relationship with my mother. I've had to ask questions about things that I had for a long time, my whole life, never dealt with. And that was that she didn't protect me from my father. I love her. And I was very glad that I was able to thank her in that speech and thank Jack Lemmon in the one for American Beauty. Because Jack was my mentor and my father figure.
Your actual father was a monstrous man. I mean, he was a Nazi sympathizer.
Again, the throaty sound, and Pierce is pushing and pushing. Please, this is an example for please don't do it. Now the father figure after the mother. These are topics that are so fucking hard. So freaking hard, yeah, and a push, go, ask the next question. No, please don't do this, please. I know it's a show and so on, but come on, no.
Is there a white supremacist? There's all sorts of epithets you can give him. He was brutal, physically brutal, although not to you, I think mainly to your brother. By all accounts, an awful father to you. And when you say that your mother should have been more protective, could she have been, do you think? Or was he so monstrous that it would almost have been impossible?
I absolutely think she could have.
You saw how long the reaction took. These questions are so, yeah, because I know it out of the one-to-one sessions, yeah. These are questions when I go to the father and to the past, or to the mother and the past, and then we have this trauma, the strong trauma, and you ask a question. There is so much fight going on. This is so much struggle, so much pain for the opposite person, and you see it. You see how much struggle it is. Again,
Was he
swallowing down.
so monstrous?
Yeah, swallowing that. Here I see it with the Adam's apple. Is it in English the same, like in German?
That it would almost have been impossible?
This sound, this is frustration. Looking here, imagination, inner world, imagination, looking back. Breathing in, and this is anger, showing the underteeth.
I absolutely think she could have.
And this is a very, very angry face. Yeah, this is like what she did was not good, and I'm still angry at her.
And I'm not willing to remove her responsibility.
I don't want to forgive her. Yes.
I was very fortunate that my sister told me repeatedly, don't listen to him, he's crazy. My mother's attitude was, oh, he just needs to get it off his chest.
Because he was very homophobic as well.
He was, yes. And I experienced that directly.
Did you know you were gay when he was doing that?
I don't think I knew what I was. I think I knew I felt things, and I was emotional when I was that young. But I've tried as best as I can to see the journey that he took from being a medic in World War II and serving the United States as patriotically as any young soldier had, and going through his albums and going through his diaries and seeing what he wrote about what he felt when he went to Germany after the war, and the slow indoctrination that happened to him with a number of people who came into his life, and how he found a reason that he wasn't able to succeed as the great creative writer he wanted to be. It's a sad and long journey. But I also need to seek forgiveness. I mean, yes, he
And also very interesting, now he's saying seek forgiveness to his father, but compared to the mother, he was like, I won't forgive her at all. But to the father, he's saying, I need to seek forgiveness. Yeah, this would be interesting just for one-to-one session. Then I would go deeper and ask again, okay, is there a difference? How does it feel with your mother? How does it feel with your father? And so on. So we can go, but not in this situation, of course, with all the lighting, all the cameras. Man, it's so crazy, crazy,
He
crazy.
lectured me and my sister and my brother for hours and hours and hours and hours about his beliefs. And it was, for me, I was so afraid to bring my friends home. I mean, my best friend, Mike, who's still my great friend to this day, I was afraid to bring him home because he was Jewish. And I was afraid that my father would leave his door open and he would see this Nazi flag hanging there. I was terrified of what he might say.
He literally hung a Nazi flag.
Yes. Yes. And so when I discovered theater in the 8th grade, and debate club and, choir and rehearsals for festivals and anything I could do that kept me out of the house, kept me from having to come home, I did. And
Side note, typical protection mechanism. I know also from a lot of clients that they had searching for reasons not to come home. I have to do homework, I have to go to school, I have to study, I have to do sports, whatever. So they found a reason.
I protected my friends from that.
And protect, he's already saying right after this, yeah, protected. That's why protection mechanism.
But it's also, that I learned at a very early age that I believed that secrets kept me safe. And I've since accepted that they really didn't, and they really don't.
Did you ever?
This is also a very good question you can ask in the therapy. We could also ask, so when is hiding something useful and when not? And how does it feel to keep secrets? And also the question is very important because I hear it a little bit. So you don't have any secrets anymore, or isn't it allowed to have secrets anymore or to hide something? So these are very interesting things in the therapy. So we talked about a lot now what not to do and why Pierce is now doing too much pressure. Yeah, and this is not an open space for sadness. Now let's go how to get an open space, how to hold space for another person when we see these indicators that is a deep topic. First of all, we need time. Time is the best component for holding space. We saw it now in the interview. It was pushing and go, go, go. And sentence is finished. Let's go right after question. So we want freedom. We want space, security. Time is always secure, feeling secure for the most people that they know, okay, I have my time to answer the question. I have time to feel in myself. I'm not pressured to answer every question directly. So this is the first thing we really, really need. So that means also that when there is just a between, I'm in the train and then I have to get out next station. Yeah, this is not a good idea, of course, to bring space into it. Yeah, so we need time, first of all. The second thing we need is to breathe. Breathing is the best case and the most easiest case that we can bring into any discussion, into any situation. The problem is we cannot convince the other person. It is just an invitation for the other person. So we can ask, would you like to breathe with me one time? Or you do it just for yourself. If the other person says, you are crazy, I don't want to breathe now. Yeah, most of the people are reacting like, hey, why should I breathe now? Yeah, then do it for yourself. And it is about breathing deeply and exhaling. Yeah, so this is the second most important thing. Next thing is to listen and not to ask deeper questions. What do I mean with deeper questions? Deeper questions are all the questions that Pierce was the best or worst example for this are like, and your mother, did she hit you? And your father, did he hit you? And this was very painful for you? And when you're going even further into the past, you got me, right? So don't try to go even deeper and deeper and deeper into these negative emotions. Listen to the other person. Stay interested, but also not even though you're interested. I know there's like, this is very interesting. Don't try to go deeper. The person will tell you by themselves automatically. Yeah, you don't have to do any work. They will tell you. Yeah. You are no professional therapist. I wanted to say when you are, of course you can do this, but when you don't feel comfortable in the situation and you see that the other person is, you have these indicators we talked about, then more like ask questions referring to what do you need to be more secure in this situation? What do you need right now? What would you wish for now? So this is much more to help the other person. You don't have to do this. Yeah. When the answer is, yeah, please hit me in the face. I don't know. You don't have to do this, of course, but we can ask this question and it brings a lot of clarity. Yeah. Also ask the other person, what do you, maybe something like this, when you have a different intention. Is it possible that I can give you a hug? Would you mind? How do you feel like? I have to translate it, sorry. How would you feel like when I give you a hug? Do you want to talk about what you want to talk about? Ask the person. Yeah, not like, okay, I go over you and then I want to go into the direction. You can go to the father, but please ask the person, how would you feel when I would ask something about your father? So that we get a feedback. And then look at the reaction. Sometimes, okay, this is now a little bit deep stuff. Sometimes the other person is saying, yes, because they are fearful of saying no, and then the other person may be leaving, and so they don't want this rejection. And see the reaction. Are they like, you can talk about it, or are they like more like Kevin? Yes, we can talk about this. Yeah, so this would be also an example. Okay, stop. Another good way is also to bring movement into the body. It's also an invitation to the other person to shake yourself, stretch a little bit, bring movement, jump a little bit around, let the energy a little bit flow. Or also, if it is possible, to ask, hey, is there anything how we can express the emotion right now? Do you want to cry? Do we want to scream? And please also not only this person. It is the combination. It's this connection, yeah, between both of us. It's not only this person is sad and doesn't relate to me at all. Stay aware. Yeah, this is the fifth part. Stay aware of your own emotions, of course. Yeah. Okay, what I'm feeling right now. What is going on? How do I feel angry now because the other person is getting sad? Oh, I'm getting angry. And also, hey, I don't want to help the other person. It is completely okay. If you don't feel in the situation, or you don't feel emotionally stable right now that you can hold the other person, no problem. We are not perfect machines or bots that are like, oh, this person is sad, now I have to do everything for the person. No, when you don't feel like it, then bring it, express it. Tell the other person, I don't feel emotionally stable enough to carry your sadness, to hold the space. I want to leave now. It's completely fine. Please tell it to the other person. I think these are the basics for holding the space and getting in a secure way. I want to mention, this is my theory of going soft. You will find other people that go the hardcore way. I tried the hardcore way in my past days, like 10, 12 years ago, with the clients and with myself, and I made the opposite experience. For me, the protection mechanism getting even stronger. Everything was fighting against the shadow, against the negative emotions. And so I went the soft way, and going soft into negative emotions and keep the awareness in a soft way. And for myself experience, this is a much better and much more optimal, effective way, if you can say this, with negative emotions, and also with transitioning or transformation, that's more effective. And so this is one perspective you will find in other people that say, no, you have to go stronger, and Piers is doing the correct thing. You have to ask the deepest questions and going harder and harder. And this is also what I found in the classical therapy, what I don't like so much. And I wanted to say I'm very grateful for your comments to the last video, where I shared my own emotions, my own journey. Thank you so much for the warming comments, and thank you for all the support, and see you in the next video. When you have any questions referring to how to keep someone secure, safe, with sadness, with anger, let me know in the comments, and I will answer these in the next video. Or you can also write me a message via WhatsApp and ask me any question if you like. See you in the next video. Bye.